So the Championship is absolutely bonkers, and this weekend was no different from that. We had some mental results going on, and as always, I'd love to get your guys' opinions on what you made of all the action going on in the league this weekend. As well as that, we will also be going over my predictions for New Year's Day at the second part of today's video. So we got a lot of things to go through today. As always, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors over at OneFootball. Their link will be in the top line of the description down below. Really cool football app, which you can go ahead and follow your Championship club on. Keep up to date with everything that is going on in the footballing world. As we do have the January transfer window opening in just a few days now, you can go over to the OneFootball app and keep up to date with all the latest transfer rumours. We will also have quite a few transfer rumour videos coming out throughout January. But with all the football going on at the moment, it's a handy app to keep up to date with all the leagues and keep track of where every side is currently sitting in the table. So like I said, link in the description down below. And before we do hop into anything, I will include your guys' score predictions on screen now. So if any of you did successfully manage to get any of your score predictions correct, then fair play. I just got the one correct this week, and to be honest, it was a tough one to get right. There were a lot of topsy-turvy results. I managed to get the Forest against Wigan game, so not too bad going from me. But without any further ado, let's jump in to talk about these games. So we'll start things out at St Andrews, where we had one of the most baffling matches we've seen in the Championship so far this season. Birmingham 4, Leeds United 5. What an absolute rollercoaster journey this one was. I can't imagine what it would have been like to have been a Birmingham or Leeds fan in the stadium for this one, but it was the away side Leeds who started out as the brighter of the two sides. We've already seen countless examples of how ruthless they can be on their counter-attack so far this season. The first goal, a prime example of that. Brilliant finish from Helder Costa after some nice build-up play. Jack Harrison then, with the help of a deflection, made it 2-0 to Leeds, and from that point onwards, from what we've come to expect from Leeds so far this season, we'd have expected them to just kill off the game from there. You know, they've been fairly tight at the back so far this season, but Birmingham got a goal back, a nice finish from Jude Bellingham, where the Leeds defence was caught out a little bit static in that one, and Leeds went into the break 2-1 up. But the second half was when all logic just flew out the window for this game, and every time a side went forward, they scored pretty much. Birmingham got a goal back, made it 2-2. Lukas Djukovic back in the goals for them. Only 8 minutes later, Luke Ayling scored a fantastic goal, probably the pick of the goals from this game, outside the box into the bottom corner. Brilliant drive from him. Birmingham then levelled things up, making it 3-3. Bella with the goal, this time the ball coming from a set piece. Kiko Casilla caught in no man's land, tried to come out for that one, but the ball was flicked over his head. Only a minute later, Leeds then got their way back in front, making it 4-3. Stuart Dallas with the goal this time. Birmingham caught out defensively for this one. It was quite a simple pass into the box, and Dallas seemed to have an acre of space inside the 6-yard box. But Djukovic was on hand once again to level things up for Birmingham, making it 4-4 in the 91st minute, and it looked like Leeds have thrown away all 3 points. But another attack and more time to go forward for this one. They managed to whip the ball in hard and low into the box, and Wes Harding in the end getting the final touch in it, putting it into the back of his own net, making it 5-4 to Leeds United. That result does send Leeds to the top of the Championship, but what a bonkers match. I mean, I don't know what to make of it, really. It sort of goes against what both sides have been like all so far this season. You know, Birmingham typically don't score that many goals. They scored 4 at home, but still didn't pick up anything from the game. Leeds, who have been so tight at the back, just seem to be so careless and unorganised all over the place. I have liked Kiko Casilla so far this season. He's probably been one of the best goalkeepers in the league, but for this one, it really caught out on a few occasions. Should have done better with a couple of the goals. But hey, Leeds have got back to winning ways after going on a bit of a dodgy run in the Championship. They are back at the top of the Championship now, and I mean, if any game goes to sum up the Championship, this right here is it. What an unbelievable match. Then we have Bristol City being Luton by 3-0. Molly Watkins opening the scoring for Bristol City in this one. The end is near when Molly Watkins is popping up with goals for Bristol City. He's become a bit of a meme on the channel lately, but really well taken goal. Eliasson was just gliding past people like they weren't there. What a fantastic player, by the way. He's got 10 assists for the season, and he's only made 8 starts for Bristol City. He had an absolutely cracking match down that left wing for Bristol City. Brilliant ball in for the first goal. Bristol City made it 2-0 in just before half-time. Jeju from the penalty spot. They had other chances to double their lead before that, though. Josh Brownhill had the speculative effort, which was well saved by Sluga. Molly Watkins had another chance, which was set up by Eliasson, but Sluga was level to that one. Another player who can put in a fantastic cross for Bristol City is Hunt. He was the assister for the third goal that Weimann got on the end of, and much better from Bristol City considering the recent run that they had gone on. With 4 consecutive defeats in the Championship, they were looking a lot more assured at the back, and going forward they were looking a lot more ruthless. Eliasson, someone who I want to see much more of as the season does go on, and the result does leave them in 8th place, just 1 point off the top 6. With Luton, bit of a perilous position at the moment, only 1 point off bottom of the table. They've slipped down to 23rd now. Then we saw Fulham beating Stoke by 1-0. The result does see Fulham climbing back up to 3rd in the Championship. There really is nothing separating those sides in the top 6 at the moment, but Bobby Reid getting another goal for Fulham. He seems to be getting better week on week. It was Poacher's finish in the end after Butland had made an initial save, and Jack Butland popped up with a string of fantastic saves in the first half, to be fair to him. I have been fairly critical of Butland so far this season, rightly so. I think he's been below standard, but for this game he saved a number of chances with some brilliant reflex saves. Mitrovic was unlucky not to get on the score sheet, and Stoke, not the best showing in the first half, but I thought they improved going into the second half. There was a little bit more intensity about them. They were looking to play on the break, and they had a couple of openings. Sam Klukas hit the side netting, Cousins had a decent chance, Tom Ince had one that just went wide, but Rodak stood firm. And probably the most beneficial thing for Fulham coming out of this game was the fact that they actually kept a clean sheet. Obviously, I think that having Hector coming in January is going to should have a big influence on them, because I think he's a much better defender than what they have there at the club at the moment. But a good way for Fulham to get back to winning ways. In terms of Stoke, disappointing first half, but better in the second, I thought. Then we had Huddersfield beating Blackburn by 2-1. It was the away side who took the lead in this one. Quite a nice goal, actually. A nice ball in from Travis from outside the box, and then Danny Graham with a cushioned header to make it 1-0. Huddersfield weren't behind for all too long, though. After going behind, they started to knock on the door a little bit more. Christian Walton popped up with a string of saves, but it was Stankovic who got them back into the game, converting from a Bakuna free kick with a glancing header, really well taken. As he usually does, Colin Grant went close on a couple of occasions, and after the break, it was probably the home side who were asking more of the questions, searching for that winner. In the end, it took something special to break down Blackburn, but what a finish from Steve Mounier outside the box, right into the top bins. If you go through that Huddersfield squad, on paper, I don't think they have quite a bit of talent, especially in forward areas. It's just that maybe people's attitudes and the way they've applied themselves over the last couple of years at Huddersfield hasn't been correct, but there's definite talent in that squad, and they were creating a flurry of chances in this game. And I think that after a performance like that, it just goes to show the work that the Cowleys have done in such a short period of time. Like, they've not had a transfer window with this squad. They're working with the past manager's team. But if you compare a performance like that from Huddersfield at the start of the season, it's absolutely night and day. And going forward, over the next few years, I'm really interested to see where they can take this project with Huddersfield. And then we have Millwall beating Brentford by 1-0. Coming into this game, I said it wouldn't be an easy game for Brentford with how good and solid Millwall have been so far under Gary Rowett, but 1-0 home victory for Millwall, and they were fully worth their 3 points in this one. I thought that in terms of the way they pressed Brentford, the way they forced them back and didn't let them penetrate them, get into many goal-scoring opportunities, Millwall really did a number on Brentford for this one. And I have to say that Gary Rowett managed this game fantastically. The intensity from midfield was brilliant, and that was where Millwall's goal came from. Obviously you can say that Brentford were quite sloppy for that goal. They were playing it around the back. David Raya in the end ended up taking a dodgy touch, but the goal really was a result of Malumbi just pressing them straight away. He wasn't giving up on any loose balls throughout this game. He put that Brentford back line under pressure, and then O'Brien, the ball fell to him, and in the end he just had to put it past Raya, and it was a nice finish from him after 8 minutes to give Millwall the lead. After that, Millwall was sitting in. They were really compact and confident defensively. They were playing with that back five, which they've done really efficiently so far this season, and they didn't really allow Brentford to get in behind them at all for this one. I mean, Brentford's best chance probably came from Mbemo in the first half, where he almost caught out Bartosz Bilkowski, but he recovered well to go back on himself and make the save. Speaking of Bilkowski, fair play to the guy, by the way, because after his last season at Ipswich, I thought he was finished. He looked like he wasn't the same goalkeeper anymore. Whether it was age catching up with him or whatever, I don't know. He just seemed to have lost it last season. But this season for Millwall, I think he's been excellent. Made a string of saves for them and really has been a top performer. Then we have Nottingham Forest climbing back into the top 6 of the Championship, and Wigan left at the bottom as Forest walked away with all 3 points with a 1-0 home victory at the City Ground, with the goal coming in the second half from a corner. Nice glancing header across the box. In the first half, both sides had chances. Williams had a good chance for Wigan, and Lewis Grobban had a glancing header which just went wide for Forest. Getting into the second half, though, things got a little bit controversial after Forest had taken the lead. Wigan did get a penalty and were gifted the golden opportunity to get back into this game. Josh Windass stepped up, who I believe has missed his last 3 penalties or so for Wigan now. He stepped up to take it, and he didn't convert. Samba made the save, and Forest went on to get all 3 points. However, after that, Wigan, they should have had another penalty. I think it was Morsey with the shot. Ben Watson went to block it, threw his arm up in the air. The ball cannoned off it, and for some reason the referee didn't give a penalty for that. So in that aspect, Wigan got a little bit unlucky not to get a second penalty, but knowing them, Josh Windass would have stepped up to take it and missed again. But a big win for Forest, who followed their win up from last time. Now got back-to-back wins in the Championship, and will be looking to solidify that place in the top 6 now. They seem to step things up in the second half. Then we have Reading beating North End by 2 goals still. I just hate playing against Reading. They've done the double over us this season, and we never seem to be able to beat them. But Reading came to Deepdale with a game plan in this one, and I thought they executed it fantastically. They came to soak up pressure and then hit us on the counter-attack, and they were really efficient when they did go forward. John Swift opened the scoring for Reading after 12 minutes, really well taken goal, brilliantly weighted pass from Charlie Adam into Tyler Blackett. He pulled the ball back across goal, and then John Swift with a nice finish into the bottom corner. Preston did have the chance to take the lead before that. Josh Harrop and Brad Potts linking up well, but Raphael made a good save, and he, I thought, had a fantastic game, made a string of saves for Reading throughout this one to ensure they kept the clean sheet. Only a few minutes after Reading taking the lead, they then made it 2. I thought that Declan Rudd should have done a little bit better with this one. Once again, some excellent work from Tyler Blackett, just waltzing his way through our midfield, laid off Lucas Jow, and then he, with a finish into the far post, made it 2-0 to Reading. From that point onwards, I thought that Alex Neil probably should have looked to make a change there. He did it against Blackburn. It was clear that the system wasn't working. You know, we had Shawnee Maguire against Moore and Morrison. He was never going to win a header against them all day. And we had Josh Harrop playing on the left-hand side up against Chris Gunter. If you put Tom Barkhuizen against Chris Gunter, there's only one person winning that race, but instead we played an inside forward on that side and didn't look to isolate Gunter in 1v1 situations. And for that reason, Reading were fairly comfortable for this one. I thought the Preston should have scored in the second half. We were on top for that. But by that point, Reading were happy to sit back, really. What was really disappointing was we allowed Charlie Adam to absolutely run this game for the first hour or so. I thought that he, along with Ajaria and especially Swift, were absolutely brilliant in this game. John Swift, what a terrific player. But Reading walked away with all 3 points, and to be honest, I thought they were deserving of it. They were really ruthless going forward. QPR against Hull, this one looked to be a bit of a smash and grab win for Hull City, but I'm sure that they will have no complaints about this one. A frustrating time for QPR at the moment, who I think have played fairly well in their last few matches, but just haven't been picking up results. They did take the lead in this one, Chair with a fantastic driving effort from outside the box into the bottom corner, giving QPR the lead. That only lasted 12 minutes though, as Joe Lumley had a bit of a howler for Hull City's opening goal. It was a cross that came into the box, a fairly routine catch for any championship goalkeeper. He did have the ball in 2 hands, let it drop for whatever reason, and then George Honeyman was there to follow it in and make it 1-1 for Hull City, and then out of nowhere, Hull are back in the game. After that, QPR continued to create chances and probably should have gone on to get that second goal. We've seen it in quite a few of QPR's recent games though. They've just not quite got that clinical edge about them at the moment. They're continuing to create chances, but the ball's just not falling for them in the box. But eventually, in the 89th minute, it did fall for Jackson Irvine. A nice free kick swung in from Jared Bowen, and then Jackson Irvine, unmarked at the far post, just glances in. Joe Lumley sort of sinks into the ground, and then Irvine has the chance to score, makes it 2-1 to Hull, and that was how that game did finish. So a frustrating time for QPR at the moment. You feel like going into the January transfer window, that will be quite a decisive time for them, really. What's going to happen with their defence and goalkeeper situation, I'm not so sure, but a good win for Hull on the road, although maybe not the most deserved 3 points of this weekend. Then we had Cardiff picking up all 3 points away at Hillsborough, beating Sheff Wednesday by 2-1, and it was a really fast start from the away side in this one. Sheff Wednesday was still hungover, it seemed, from that Stoke game, but Glatt still taking the lead for Cardiff after just 5 minutes. A really well taken goal, actually. Quick thinking by Lee Tomlin to quickly take a free kick, catching Sheff Wednesday out. He chipped the ball into Glatzel in the box, and then after some nice footwork, managed to just about get the ball in under Dawson to make it 1-0. After that, just a few minutes later, after 8 minutes, Hoyler then makes it 2 for Cardiff. Once again, Lee Tomlin turning provider for that goal. And Lee Tomlin's record at the moment is absolutely fantastic. Under Neil Harris so far, he's got 5 goals and 3 assists. He really is the man on form for Cardiff. If you manage to stop him, you can stop Cardiff, but that's no easy feat with the way that he's playing at the moment. Tom Lees did get a goal back for Sheff Wednesday, but in the second half, Cardiff looked to handle the game really well, actually. Their game management. Sheff Wednesday, they were trying a few things, but nothing was really falling for them. They were trying to get a lot of balls into the box, but Cardiff were happy to head them away all afternoon long, and in the end, held on quite comfortably for all 3 points. So Sheff Wednesday, a lot of endeavour to try and get back into the game, but it just wasn't happening for them second half. Big 3 points for Cardiff now, who are going fantastically well under Neil Harris at the moment, you have to say. After Middlesbrough and Huddersfield won this weekend, it's looking a bit like a 4-horse race at the moment in terms of survival in the Championship. Barnsley, of course, being one of those sides and picking up a solid point away at Liberty with a goalless draw in this one. I think that the point probably does suit Barnsley better. Swansea quite frustrated from this one. I think they've only won 2 out of their last 10 home matches now in the Championship, so something needs to change with that. It was Barnsley who were looking to press Swansea in those situations, limit their chances. Swansea had more than enough to go on and win the game in terms of the chances they did create. Sam Surridge, a lot of chances fell his way. Radlinger denied him on a couple of occasions. Had one fantastic chance when Radlinger was out of his area. Looked to chip him for about 35 yards, but that effort came off the crossbar. Barnsley also had their share of chances in this one. They hit the post as well, had a goal ruled out for offside. But it was in those decisive areas where Swansea just couldn't find that final touch and be clinical enough to go on and get all 3 points. They are still holding on to that dream of making it into the top 6. There's still not a lot in it, but it's home results like this which will see them them just dropping further and further back. And then we have Middlesbrough beating West Brom by 2-0. What a run Middlesbrough have gone under recently. They are now 9 points clear of the relegation zone and are only looking up rather than down. They really did a number on West Brom for this one, who just looked flat from minute one. Lately, West Brom have gone on a bit of a dodgy run. They've only won 1 of their last 5 matches. Obviously, before this did have a 14-game unbeaten run, but even so, some of the performances have dropped off lately. You could see that maybe Bilic was holding a few people back for that game they've got coming up on New Year's Day against Leeds United, but I don't think you can take anything away from Middlesbrough. They were excellent for this game. Daniel Ayala got them in front after 17 minutes, that goal coming from a set piece, and they continued to have chances throughout the game. It wasn't as if they were just sat back for the 90 minutes. Sam Johnson was called into action for multiple times throughout this one. Ainsley Pears as well of Middlesbrough also called into action a few occasions, made one fantastic save from Charlie Austin in the second half. But the goal which went on to seal it for Middlesbrough, oh my god, Ashley Fletcher with an outrageous strike, a half volley. Sam Johnson was caught off of his line, but to have the audacity to try it from there, what an unbelievable strike it was, worthy of winning any match. But with that result, Middlesbrough have been lifted up to 16th in the Championship, whereas West Brom have fallen to 2nd, but next up for them is against Leeds United. So there were all the games that did go on this weekend. In terms of my goal of the weekend, I think I'm going to have to give it to Ashley Fletcher for that outrageous goal against West Brom. Then for the result of the weekend, it's probably between Middlesbrough and Leeds United. In terms of a shock result, I'd probably give it to Borough because I don't think that anyone was expecting them to go to West Brom and beat them, but in terms of the spectacle of the game itself, Leeds 5, Birmingham 4, we're not going to see a game like that in a long time. But those were all the matches that did go on this weekend, so get your thoughts in the comments down below. Now without any further ado, let's get into my New Year's Day score predictions. Obviously we do have the game going on in the Championship tonight between Derby and Charlton, so some of my predictions could change depending on what does happen in that fixture tonight. I predicted that one to end as a draw. But in terms of my New Year's Day score predictions, Millwall going up against Luton. I think I've got to be back in Millwall, being at the Den for that one. Such a strong home record. They don't concede many goals there and have been looking good going forward. I'm going to go 2-0 Millwall in that game. Birmingham against Wigan. I'd fancy Wigan to have a lot of chances, but things just aren't falling for them at the moment in this one. Birmingham, I think, after coming off that hectic game against Leeds, we're probably not going to see a lot of goals in this one. It would be typical of the Championship. I'll go 1-0 Birmingham in that game. Bristol City versus Brentford. I'm going to go for a draw in that one. I'm going to say 1-1. Brentford are going to be looking to bounce back from that showing at the Den last time. Obviously, Ashton Gate, not the easiest place to go to, but I'd imagine both teams are going to want to play football for that one. I'll say 1-1. Fulham against Reading. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Fulham seems to have their goal scoring touch at the moment, but with a side like Reading and how ruthless they can be going forward, considering the run that they're on under Mark Bowen at the moment, with how ruthless they were at Deepdale, they could cause Fulham a lot of problems going forward. I'll say 2-2 in that game. Huddersfield versus Stoke. I'm probably fancying Huddersfield for that game. I'll say 2-1. Blackburn are really suffering from injuries at the moment, and it's clear to see that a bit of fatigue is coming into their game. We could see that from the game they had yesterday against Huddersfield. Going up against this Forest side who seemingly have got their mojo back with back-to-back wins in the Championship. However, scoring goals at home, they still don't seem to be the most fluid team. I fancy Blackburn to maybe get a point from that one. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, and I'm also going to say the same for Preston going up against Middlesbrough. Preston obviously not the greatest showing against Reading, although we did have a lot of chances, looked a bit dodgy at the back. Middlesbrough, with how they're going under Woodgate at the moment and the unbeaten run they're currently on, I could see them getting the point at Deepdale. I'm going to say 1-1. QPR going up against Cardiff. Things aren't falling for QPR at the moment, and with the way that Lee Tomlin and Cardiff are going under Neil Harris, I'm going to say 2-1 Cardiff. I think they may get another away victory. Sheffield Wednesday versus Hull. Things haven't fallen for Sheffield Wednesday lately. They got a little bit unfortunate maybe in that game against Cardiff. I'll back them to get back to winning ways in that one with a 2-1, but with Hull, you never really know. West Brom against Leeds, the big game of New Year's Day. I'll leave a poll for you guys to vote on as to which way you think this one will go. West Brom haven't been great lately, but I'd imagine they've got players returning into their starting 11 for this game, and I imagine Soys is going to be back in. I think Kieran Gibbs may be back in, and Diane Garner as well. Those players really will have an influence on how West Brom play for this game. Obviously, with Leeds at the moment, God knows what's going to happen with them. Their performances can go from 0 to 100 in the space of about 5 minutes, so we never really know what we're going to get. I'm going to bottle it a bit, and I'm going to say it's going to end as a 1-1 draw, but I'm interested to see which way you guys are swaying. Derby against Barnsley, a difficult one to predict without knowing what's going to happen with Derby going on tonight. I'll go for a 1-1 draw in that game. I think that Barnsley will continue to pick up their form as the season goes on. And then finally, we've got Swansea going up against Charlton. Once again, a tough one to predict without knowing what Charlton are going to do tonight. Swansea's home record forward has been less than ideal lately, but it's games like this that they're going to have to start picking up all 3 points if they want to finish in the top 6 from the end of the season. I'll say 1-0 Swansea, but I'm not all too confident in saying that. But those are all my predictions for what I think is going to happen in the fixtures on New Year's Day. So as always, they will be in the description down below so that you guys can also make your score predictions. But apart from that, that will now wrap it up for today's video, guys. So thank you so much for watching. If you did go on to enjoy it, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. Make sure you subscribe for a bit of regular championship content. Get all your thoughts in the comments down below. But apart from that, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.